Hey guys, my name is Brad. I'm from the San Diego branch of Siemens. I am a technician with a new Chevy Equinox EV, and I'm also one of the first people here that's going to be installing a Geotab device with a harness. I want to make a nice video for you guys to hopefully make it easier for you guys to install this. It's not as bad as it looks, but it will take some time. With the Geotab setup here, we have a wiring harness, adapter with pigtail. So what ends up happening is we're going to end up removing the stock OBD2 port, and this will mate with it. And then this pigtail right here, this will end up being the replacement location for the OBD2 port. And then you have this adapter. There's quite a few of them, depending on what make and model that you have. You're going to find one that's closest. For the Chevy Equinox, this one is most closest. Now, what happens is you take this, you slide it in, and you got prongs. So you just kind of wiggle it on there, and this only goes on one way, so you can't mess it up. I'm doing this with one hand. Come on, you know you want to. My mechanical hands are not on today, apparently. I can't just do it with one hand. There we go. So when you slide it in, you hear a nice click, and it's done. So if you wanted to, you can go ahead and pop this on. Probably goes in this way. You see here on the other side, it clips. It should hear a click as well. Come on. Okay. I think I got it where I want it. So it doesn't make a satisfying click like the adapter does, but you can see. Focus, dude, focus. There we go. You can see it's nice, snug, and it's on there pretty good. You always want to kind of like pull and play around with it, make sure it doesn't come off. Anyways, so assembly of the harness is pretty much done. Do note, you have, this is all spliced together. There's twice as many wires going around. You also have this smaller clip. I don't know what it does. But anyways, when it comes to handling the harness, you want to be very careful not to pull on any of the wires. If for some reason you gotta, take this off and move it around underneath the dash, try not to pull on the wires, because if these pinouts in here, I don't know if you can see it, if these pinouts become loose, it could potentially ruin the Geotab or cause intermittent issues, and you don't want that. Next, let's talk about tools. You're going to want a plastic dash removal pry bar. So you want one with a 45 and a 90 here. You're going to want a Torx bit. Looks like this. Where is the camera at? It's not really focusing so much. But this is a T15. Put this back on. And then you're going to want a 1/4-inch drive ratchet with a 6-inch extension, and then a 7mm socket. Now, these two tools right here, it depends on your make and model. It might be different, but the pry tool is universal. You're going to want that. So with that, guys, we're going to jump into underneath the dash, and let's get started. Alright, so here we are at the dash. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to have to take this knee panel off, and then this foot panel right here. And typically with the gasoline engine vehicles, the OBD2 port's right here, which I think this is what this molding's for. It would make it a lot easier if it was up here. We wouldn't have to mess around underneath here next to the airbag. But the OBD2 port is right here. So you can see it's tucked into there, and the foot plastic part is in the way, the panel, so we're going to get rid of it. When it comes to the bolts, you have one right here, one right here. Let me get the light so you can see it. Right here, this one. You're gonna have this bolt right there, and you're gonna have two on this side. These two. And then you got I like to call them a push or pull pin right here. There is no nut on there. I'm not sure if it's supposed to or not. Doesn't look like it. But that's what we're gonna do first. And let's begin. Can you see? So there's 5 bolts removed. Now we're gonna focus down here. So right here you can see the push pull right here. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fingers, put it behind there, and just yank on it. And then this just drops out. So now you can see we have a lot more access to the OBD2 bolts, and when it comes to managing where the harness is gonna go. Alright, so next thing, we're going to worry about the knee panel. So, we're going to take a pry bar, and on the right side, we're going to wedge it in between, and then we're going to just kind of yank on it a little bit. And it's going to pop out some, right? We're going to do this other side over here. Where the controls are, I'm gonna give it a nice little yank. And now we're pretty much loose, which is good. Next thing we're gonna do is we need to get this panel off over here, this door panel. And we're just gonna shove it in there. And it's gonna start popping a little bit. Keep moving down. And then at this point, you can just kind of pull on it and it just falls off. Alright, so the only thing that's left that's holding this portion, this knee panel, are these 2 T15 Torx bit screws. So let's get our tool here and let's get her going. And it's okay if the panel falls down. It shouldn't. It should be enough things holding it together. It shouldn't just drop, but you know, it's okay. should be loose enough. You just take with our fingers here. There we go. Still on there, but not for long. We'll just grab it. There you go. Don't worry about this wire. This is my dash cam that I put in there. All right, so now we have total access all around where the other 2 port is going to be removed and replaced, or extended, I should say. You'll notice right here, that's the airbag clip. Do not mess with that. Do not touch it, because this is an airbag for your legs and your feet. So you obviously don't want to be messing with this at all, because if it explodes in your face, it's probably gonna hurt. You're probably gonna take a little bit of a nap. Who knows? But anyways, let me get the light. So our next thing is we're gonna take these 2 bolts off that holds this in place, and then we're going to clip in our Geotab wiring harness. Oh, one more thing. If you look, here's your other 2 port. Here's your sidekick panel. There is nothing preventing these 2 screws from falling into the void. And I say the void because that means you'll take this kick panel off, and it's probably not gonna be easy because they put the hood latch right here. So let's grab a towel and we're gonna stuff it in here so while we're working, we don't lose our bolts. Because if you lose your bolts in the void, you're gonna lose your mind. Alrighty guys, you see how I place the towel here, so if the bolts fall, it'll fall somewhere other than where I don't want it to fall. That would be a long day of chasing a bolt. We don't got time for that. And also, all these bolts are the same size. There's nothing unique about them, so you can intermix them. Other than your Torx bits, your Torx bit screws, those do have to go in the same spot. Now you can see here, this is the factory of the 2 port, right? So give me a second, and we're going to clip the Geotab wiring harness to it. Alrighty, so we got our wiring harness here. You can see the main harness of the Geotab right here, this plug, female plug. We're going to clip together the male plug, or the stock OD2 reader. We'll make sure it has a nice click to it. I'm gonna get you closer. Let me do it this way. So you can see there's a little tab right here. We'll make sure it's fully in. All right, make sure not to tug on these wires. Let me zoom you out. Don't tug on these wires. Don't disconnect this. Right. We're gonna make sure it's really on there. We don't want it to move. The other side, we put this adapter on. Right, this needs to go where the OD2 port was. So you can see how we have a lot of wire that needs to be pretty much in the same place. And just be careful with the wires. Don't tug on them too much. Don't pull on them too much. And there we go. So it's gonna be kind of hard if you're not really good at being a mechanic, or this is your first time. Just take your time, but also because I pulled away my cloth, let's put this back in there. because while you're trying to put this back together, you might lose your bolts. I'm gonna get it way up there. There we go. I don't want no choice of, or no chance of these bolts falling off me. All right. And we're just gonna start with one. And we're not gonna tighten it down all the way. We wanna get these kind of set. We wanna get everything kind of set first before we actually tighten it down. See, I just dropped my bolt. So I got kind of started on that side. There we go. Now with this adapter that we put on, you'll notice on the top there is a little bit of a plastic tab that is fighting the OEM location. You just gotta be patient with it. You might drop your bolt a few times, but that's fine. That's why we got the towel there. Yeah, it's gonna be a booger. Ooh, up! Almost lost my bolt into the void. Okay, it's grabbing. Good. So yeah, it's not going to be a perfect OEM fit. And I'm going to get closer for you guys to see. There we go. You can see this tab on top. Alright. If you look in between, alright, the adapter we put on is pressed up against that tab. And it makes for a tight fit. With this bolt here first. Maybe it's better to start this bolt first before this one's on, so you don't have to worry about the bolt dropping into the void. The choice is yours. It will fit. That's what matters. So we're gonna tighten this up, and then we're gonna manage our wiring cable right here, or harness. Now nice and snug's okay. Don't make it super tight because it is plastic. We don't want to break it. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Alright. So you got the AC for your feet down here. So I'm just going to be very careful trying to shove this up there. Kind of like this. And then once you get at the right angle, it'll kind of just push itself up there. It's just kind of just hanging up by itself. It's probably stuck on something, but you know, at that point we don't really care because it is out of the way of that bolt, and it's out of the way of our foot, out of our kick panel for our feet. So the last thing we got to do is route this. I call it a dongle, a dingus. Let's call it a dingus. So we also want to shove the dingus up here. All right, and we're gonna leave that for a second. And then I'm gonna move you guys around so I can show you this other area. All right, so what we're gonna do is there's the dingus. All right, I just kind of propped it up there. We need to come and pull it this way towards us. So we're gonna take our fingers and we're gonna try grabbing it, or probably better if you just find where the wire went and kind of just, there we go, and just push it towards you like that. It's a lot of finagling for this part. All right, but you can see it's right here, and then we're just gonna pull it through. There you go. We got the dingus. Dingus has been successfully pulled through. Now, one of the last things we got to do is find where we're going to put the dingus. So, because this is an EV and there's a lot of wiring and stuff here underneath the dash, we don't have a lot of good locations to put this anywhere. So pretty much this is just going to go right over here in this corner. All right. The other fun part is we have to somehow strap this, zip tie this on. So honestly, it's probably just gonna sit like here, and we'll zip tie it to, it's kind of hard to see, to that cable right there in the middle. Let me get closer if I can and show you guys. So these two wires, so it'll sit on the left side, and then we'll just zip tie to these two wires once we get the dingus attached to the GPS system. Now, for the people who have EVs, this is the part where you're going to want to turn your vehicle on. Keys right here. I got the key in my pocket. Turn on. Alright. So, I'm pretty sure the Silverado EV is similar. But what we're going to want to do is push that button. This will keep the vehicle on for 60 minutes. This is important because we don't want the EV to turn off once we connect the dingus to the GPS tracker, because if we disturb power while it's initializing and trying to connect to their server, it could cause issues with the GPS not working, or if it decides to do a firmware update and loses power, it could potentially break the GPS unit or device itself. So we don't want to do that. For gasoline vehicles, just start your car and let it run. Alright guys, we're going to continue here. So, unfortunately, the speaker is right next to the phone. So I'll try to be really clear so you don't miss out on anything. But we're going to take the dongle, the dingus, with the Geotab device, and we're going to put it in. It's gonna do beeping, it's gonna do lights, it's gonna do a lot of stuff, but the biggest thing is, now that it's plugged in, we're not gonna unplug it. It might look like it's not working, but it is booting up, initializing, so we do not want to touch it, or we don't want to pull it apart. Now, we're gonna take one of the zip ties right here, and we're gonna put it around the Geotab device itself and the dingus. Now you can see right here, got a little bit of a nook, right? That's where this goes. So all you do is take this, tighten it up here, and we're gonna fix it right there, and we're just gonna give this a tug. And we'll move it more this way, so it's easier to pull. All this is doing is it's going to ensure that this does not pull apart. So we're just going to let it do its thing while we do this. Nice and snug. Right? Forgot to tell you, you need some wire cutters or something. And then we're just going to snip that off. All right. Now we're ready to put this in its home, in its place. Alright. So now I'm going to take that device, and it needs to be pointing upwards. So this blue and white face right here needs to be pointing up towards the roof. It doesn't matter which way it goes, as long as it's pointing up. Now we're going to take our zip ties and we're going to place them on the floor for a second here, and we're going to work on the slack of wire we got here. There is plenty of room for this wire to just be pushed back up there, right? So it could just float up there, it doesn't matter. What we care about though is making sure that the geo tracker is somehow affixed somewhere so it's not moving around. But you can tell, once I turn this wire off, it is blue. Actually, yeah, we're GPS tracking now. But it'll beep and it'll connect. It's probably going to start a firmware update here pretty soon, but that's fine. We're going to put it back. And we somehow have to zip tie this. A lot of fun. Ooh, I see what I'm going to do. Alright. So, there's nothing to really zip tie around on this. So what I would like to do is I'm going to snake a zip tie around here, and then I'm going to follow this up where it needs to go, and then I'm going to also snake the zip tie up and around these wires. Alright, so that's the firmware beeping noise I was talking about. That looks pretty good. Sounds like a bomb can go off. Alright, I'm gonna cut this zip tie off. I don't really feel comfortable with just one zip tie. You're gonna wanna finagle another one on there somewhere, somehow. Alright, so now we're going to take this other one and we're going to snake it in and around the wires again, and we're going to zip tie. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'll get close up for you guys here in a second. Alright, so that's what I did right here. So it's pointed up. The wire's tugged over here, just up in there, kind of like the same way we pulled it out through the dash. I kind of just tucked it back there. I got two zip ties going through the zip tie that was holding the dingus to the GPS tracker, right? And so now it's held together with the computer wiring. See it there. All right, let's go ahead and reinstall the knee panel. This one right here. All right, so we're gonna just politely line this kind of up, make sure it's kind of getting grabbed by the tabs a little bit. Looks good to me. So all you gotta do, slap, slap, slap. make sure it's nice and happy. And it looks like it all popped in there. All right. We're gonna put both of these screws back on with our T15 Torx bit here. Once you've taken this off once, I mean, it's not as bad as, you know, it's not that bad. It's just that wire harness, putting it up and through and zip tying it, you know, that's the fun. That's the fun part. Make sure it's nice and snug. It don't have to be super tight. It is plastic. We don't want to strip it out. Drop him a bit. Hard to do with one hand. Okay, so that's on. Grab your door panel cover, this. It might give you a little bit of resistance. You got this tab down here. It needs to be in the outside. But also you got tabs up here. So it all just kind of needs to align and go together. A little bit of forcefulness helps. So kind of like that. And just slap it in there. There you go. But yeah, so let's say something's wrong with the GPS system. Just pry this cover off. You'll have that hole right here, and you can take a look. So we're gonna slide and wiggle. We're gonna make sure that this push-pull tab finds the little bolt there, and then the plastic, it might be a little resistant to you putting it in, but that is fine. Just take your time with it. Push that tab in more if you have to, but pretty much you should be able to look around and ensure all the bolt holes line up, and then you're good to go when it comes to screwing in those 5 screws, and then we'll be done. Alrighty, let's get these screws going here. Can you see me? Yep. So I'm gonna get that one where the wiring harness is in first. And then you got 2 on either side. And then just we're gonna start everything first and then tighten it all. We don't want to tighten it because in case the kick panel is moved over too much on one side, we'll make sure that we can still kind of push it in, push it through. Yeah, it looks like we're good. I'm just doing the other side real quick here. Kind of blocking guys' view. I'm on that side. Alright, so now everything is in place. Now I'm going to do a nice little tighten around the plastic here. Remember, not too hard. Don't have to monkey it on there. And I'll show you again where the bolts are, if you don't remember. These 2 bolts. I'm sorry, give me a second. See, the glare is killing me. I can't see it now myself. Those 2. So, we got bolt here to put in, bolt here to put in. Remember, don't touch it. No touchy touch. You got this bolt right here, and then you got two over here, which now I can't see because of glare. Those two right there. Once you're done with that, you are pretty much done installing the Geotab. Now the next thing you got to do is, that's not good. Where'd that go? It must have blown away in the wind. Interesting. One second. This is what I'm looking for. So, in the white box that your Geotab GPS device came in, are serial numbers or some stickers. You're going to want to keep this with you because once you're done installing, you want to go onto their website, and then you're going to go through the process to kind of register, but also test and make sure the GPS device is working. And it'll ask to either scan or manually input the serial number here. And so once you do that, it should say it's okay and reporting. It doesn't give an exact time. It's like within the last 24 hours. But if for some reason you're driving along and it's not tracking, you're gonna have to give Geotab a call, and they're gonna do some diagnostic work for you. Worst comes to worst, you know, you might need to get a new Geotab, which means you just gotta pull the paneling apart and insert the new one in there onto the dingus. Worst case scenario, the wiring harness is bad, and then you gotta completely redo everything. So, but hope for the best, and good luck, everybody.